What is more likely to happen? England winning the World Cup or Matt Hancock winning I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Jesus.
That's not how you thought this podcast was going to start, was it?
No, definitely not. I'd say England winning the World Cup for the sake of humanity and all of the country. I think we'd want England winning the World Cup rather than Matt Hancock winning I'm a Celeb.
Do you know, it's weird. I thought even with that, you would still say, no, there's no chance for England. Because that's how you hate this
there
England
isn't.
team.
Is it a hatred of England team or hatred of Gareth Southgate?
It can be both, in a way.
Yes, I think it is both. Anyway, we'll get on to Yes, true. We'll get on to England later because as of time of recording, we're still waiting for the squad announcement to come out. And if we're talking I'm a Celeb for a second, as a football podcast, we have to be supporting Jill Scott, for God's sake.
As a supporter of women's football, we have to be supporting Jill Scott. She's queen in waiting.
Exactly. But we can...
To be fair, she's used to being around detestable people. She did have Phil Neville and Mark Sampson as England managers once upon a time.
I pray for her soul. She did not deserve that.
Yeah. But as we said, look, 2-part podcast pretty much. This one's going to be, we'll talk normal club football first, and then once this England squad is revealed, we'll get into that towards the end.
Definitely so. And it's been a busy week since we spoke on Monday. I mean, pretty much within a few moments of us finishing the podcast, the Athletic were reporting. Yeah. The Athletic were reporting that FSG has put up Liverpool for sale. Now, the article didn't really explain much in terms of like they're 100% guaranteed going to be sold, but it seemed to be saying that they have put like the big investment bankers in charge of any potential sale should anything happen. And there's been no talk or rumours from what I've seen of any potential owners even. Jesus Christ.
I'd seen David Ornstein's tweet regarding it, but then it's once you start scrolling down and going through the thread, you see the FSG statement as it was, which completely squashed everything that David Ornstein was supposedly saying, no, we're not selling. We're just looking for a bit of extra investment because we can't be fucking arsed to give the money ourselves.
Yeah. So it was one of them where it did seem like they'd happily take people coming on board with them and selling like I'd say a stake in their share. Yeah. So they'd own a percentage, and then possibly down the future line they'd get full investment, bit like what the San Francisco 49ers are currently doing with Leeds. They own a big portion of it, and then over the next couple of years, I believe from what I've read this morning that they are trying to do a full purchase of the club in the next couple of years. So it wouldn't surprise me if FSG try and go down that route of getting someone on board to work with them who mainly put money into the team to help Jurgen Klopp, whether it be for spending or whatever, and then in the long term fully take over the club.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions with this. It did just come out of nowhere, even if it is something that Liverpool fans maybe would have wanted. Like a certain section would have wanted it after the Super League stuff that happened.
Yeah.
And as you said, I don't even want to say lack of investment, because they have invested, as we've seen. They've just not invested in the right areas or enough of the right area. They needed more than what they actually have.
Yeah, because, I mean, who else did they sign up this summer apart from Darwin Núñez?
Oh, God. Do you know what? I can't recall off the top of my head.
I don't know whether they did sign anyone else.
Well, we know who it was. He's just not playing. It was Arta, wasn't it, on loan? Was that the only one?
Yeah, Arta Mello was the only other deal I can think of now you say it. But...
What a waste. That's proven to me. And Klopp, Jurgen Klopp, whenever he speaks about Arta Mello, just he's begging to say, but I didn't really want him. Why did we sign him? I mean, he's never going to play for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's featured once or twice, I believe, for the under-23s, trying to get back to full fitness.
Man thought he was probably to be partnering Fabinho, and yet he's partnering Jay Spearing.
Jesus Christ, poor. Absolute poor for the man. But yeah, it's not worked out for him, and it will be interesting to see what happens with Liverpool, I don't think it's going to be something we hear about over the next couple of months. It may be a year, 2 years down the line where we have something concrete on their future, whether it be a bit part selling their team or full ownership changes over. Because FSG have been in charge, 12 years now, 2010? They took over from...
Has it been that long? It feels like it's... It's weird. It feels like it's not been that long. I want to say it was shorter than that, but I can't say I know. The only
it wouldn't be too much shorter.
Yeah, I don't know, but the only thing I want to know is for you, is this a good thing for them? Really, them going?
I think if we look at the investment side, I think it's needed for Liverpool, and I've seen a few reactions from Liverpool fans for a while now that have wanted FSG out, not just purely on the basis of the Super League. I think it's one of them where they're American owners, and I believe they've got other franchises, sports franchises in America, and I feel like they're taking more precedent, and like they've appointed like a CEO or type person, and Jurgen Klopp, they just deal with Liverpool's side of things. So it's one of them where you look at it and you're like, they're not actually that invested in the club, even if they are putting investment into the club. So it's one of them where I think true diehard Liverpool fans will want like someone who cares about the club or puts money in and gives their full dedication to Liverpool to get them as that team of the biggest team in England potentially.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that comes with that as well is, does any new owner stick with Jurgen Klopp? Does his position get called into question?
It's one of them where you kind of look. So if something was to happen between now and the end of the season, I think Klopp stays. But if it was to, and then I would say a new manager would probably come in for the start of next season. But I think if anything later,
it's more of a question of, do they want their own man? Are they? Do they trust someone like Jurgen Klopp, who's a very outspoken guy, to go straight in and be like, you're not doing the same things the last guys did. The last owners gave me this, and I had this much freedom. Are these owners going to have that same philosophy? I looked at Chelsea with this, in a way.
Yeah.
But Todd Bowley didn't seem a fan of Tuchel. So what did he do? First chance he had, he got rid and brought in someone that he wanted and could implement what is his vision for that football club.
Yeah, 100%. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was to happen. Again, we're just talking in theory here. We don't know if Liverpool are going to change owners or anything, but we're just going on the basis of, if they do change ownership, then for me, I think it could happen. And I've been saying this now for a few weeks. Something in me just feels like this is Klopp's last season at Liverpool.
And that's it. I don't think we're there yet. It feels like we're slowly on the downward path of it. I almost said spiral. That would have been massively harsh. But yes, it feels like it's in the last years, although I think many would have said that about Sir Alex Ferguson after his first few years of success. And then he obviously bounced back. Who knows what happens after that?
Definitely so. But it feels like with Liverpool, we're definitely coming to the peak of the mountain. If not, we've gone over the peak and are on our way back down slowly. But it's still, yeah.
They need squad depth because they're getting left behind compared to other clubs that they should be around.
Yeah. And I mean, even midweek, we'll get onto Carabao Cup fixtures in a minute or two. But again, they just about got through to the next round of that as well. So you should be thinking that Liverpool team, they should have the depth to easily get past Derby County and progress easier into the next round. But it just doesn't seem to be that way.
You'd hope so, but the way the Carabao Cup is being this year, it's almost not as surprising because it's gone weird. Dare I say, actually entertaining for a change?
Yeah, I can understand that from like a Aston Villa fan point, but I'll get onto that in a second from the big clubs and what I think it will do. Well, on the whole, whether Liverpool change ownerships now or in the next year, it's definitely one we'll keep an eye out on, and I think it will definitely provide more talking points in the future to come.
Yes, but to the Carabao Cup now, I think we could say so. The big teams, they're all dropping out like flies.
Yeah.
Arsenal out, Tottenham out, Chelsea
out,
West Ham out.
Mm-hmm.
Soon to be Manchester United out.
Everton as well.
That's not a big club anymore.
Yeah.
You can't be beaten 4-1 by Bournemouth, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, true. I mean, that was a sackable offence by Lampard.
I think we're still away from that, but more and more Lampard is drifting into the Gerrard territory of, sorry, what are you offering here?
Yeah. But on the rest of the Carabao Cup action, I think the reason the big teams are going out is because they don't want to be having the crazy amount of fixtures come the new year, because there won't be any Carabao Cup games now for the rest of this year.
Actually, that's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah, I saw the fourth round is actually the week after the World Cup, yeah. Unless that has changed, but that's what I saw on the dates when I searched beforehand recording this podcast.
Jeez. Well, then that's case in point. You can have too many games, because if you look at the top six, right, so Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, they've all got European fixtures to compete with as well, and no matter how far they go. And
also, if there's a likeliness of them having players involved in the final itself, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's just drained players.
Yeah.
If they're not already drained as it is with the way the World Cup is.
Yeah, so you're going to have, the World Cup ends on the 21st of December, is it?
17th.
Or 18th. 17th, 18th.
The week before Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, so a week before Christmas, the World Cup ends. Then they're coming back pretty much straight away to some Premier League games.
The Boxing Day games are still happening.
Yeah, so the 26th is the first set of fixtures after that. Then, don't forget, in the new year, there's also going to be the third round of the FA Cup where the Premier League teams are entering. Then
yes, I could have a complaint about that, though.
Yeah, as again, Villa standpoint, you're not playing as many fixtures as these big six teams are.
That's more just a football standpoint. I love the FA Cup third round.
Yeah, that's you. Then you look, the Champions League's back in February, so player fatigue is a real thing, and I think that's why these bigger teams are happy to go out of the tournament so early this year, the Carabao Cup, and I even think the FA Cup as well. We'll see some of them go out early because of fatigue being an issue and wanting to give players a rest. So when it comes to the latter parts of the season, if it is close in terms of race for the title, race for the top four or whatever, they're going to have players that are fresher rather than having absolutely tired players and you got nothing to rest on.
Yeah, and if we were to start on a debate of player fatigue, we all know what the answer is. You just go to the World Cup. That doesn't have to be in November.
Yep, shouldn't ever have been in November. Should never have been in Qatar. We can talk about that for eons to come. Everything that FIFA did with that is just completely wrong, and let's hope this is the last time a World Cup's ever held this late in the year.
Yeah, weirdly, yeah, in a way.
Because
you were speaking about it, we'll keep on with, as you said, nice chance for a different team to have a good run, ignoring Man City are through and probably still going to walk it. Yeah, there's a chance. The reward that comes with it is still something that's pretty important to a team that are in the bottom half of the Premier League. It's the place in Europe, even if it is the Conference League.
Yeah, and I think that is why I think the bottom half, so 10 down, I know 10th is still technically at the top of the table, but I think teams from 10th down will be looking and going, if we can make a good Carabao Cup, we can potentially get European football. And like you said, I do think that is a benefit, in fact, for these smaller teams. Like, let's actually do that and go for a European place, because it is something we can dream of and achieve, hopefully.
Yeah, we had said that we were recording this on the Thursday. Right? Did we just forget that bit, or did we just leave the listeners to assume that we're recording this on the Thursday to release the Friday after?
Well, yeah, sorry. We are recording this in advance.
Yeah, so hey, I can't wait to talk about Aston Villa facing Manchester City on December the 19th.
Oh gosh.
I do get jealous of it. If we do win, like if this when this podcast comes out, we've won, we've beat Manchester United, we're in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait because I really do believe the main strength of Unai Emery is how he is in knockout competitions.
I mean, we can talk about it on Monday when we look back in the Premier League games
I
as
know
well.
because if Manchester United have won, I couldn't give a shit.
So only if Villa win, we'll talk about it then.
Villa have won. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, may have won.
We are we're breaking the fourth wall here.
Yeah, we're breaking time and space. Villa may have or have already won. In that sense, congratulations, Aston Villa. Commiserations, Man United. Or if Man United have won, congratulations, Man United, and commiserations to Aston Villa.
Commiserations also to Gareth Southgate when Harry Maguire picked up an injury.
Ugh, please don't start mentioning that name.
Well, yeah, about the last 20 minutes are going to be all around that name.
Yeah, true. Let's have a look at the fixtures then for this weekend in the Premier League. It's the final set of fixtures before the World Cup. Interestingly enough, not too many standout fixtures in the Premier League.
I feel like there's only one place really to start, isn't there?
Where are we starting?
Well, I want us to start on Southampton because they
Yes.
have appointed Nathan Jones as manager. And if only there was someone on this podcast that could tell us what Nathan Jones is like as a football manager to help ease the nerves of Southampton fans who are almost certainly not listening to this podcast.
He's a terrible manager and he will never bring you success. You'll go down relegated and he'll be sacked.
No, don't tell them what they want to hear.
No, I'm just telling them what I want to hear, and Luton fans want to hear, so that he gets back into Luton.
It's so weird. Like, can I talk about the timeline this last week? You had Luton fans begging for him not to leave because he's done so well with them, and everything he's done with them, he's a legend to them. Is that strong? Mm-hmm. Is he a legend, or is he just a cult hero?
I'd say he could go down as a club legend because of what he's led us through the divisions.
So he adored by Luton fans, and then you look at the Southampton timeline, they couldn't be any more upset that this is the standard they've gone to.
Mm.
It was just hilarious.
Yeah, it still seems a strange appointment from a Southampton point of view, because like we said on Monday, why not go after someone like Sean Dyche, someone that's got that Premier League experience and can get them out of the relegation fight that they're in? I'm not saying Nathan Jones can't do that with them, but it doesn't seem like the right appointment.
It absolutely doesn't. No, this is an appointment where they're trying to be a bit ambitious, but they're not in a position to be ambitious. They're in a position, where they just need to survive.
Mm.
And he's got no proven track record of that whatsoever.
No,
at least not at a Premier League level.
Yeah, I mean, in his time at Luton, 303 games managed, 141 of them, drew 83 and lost only 79, led them from 18th in League Two, and he leads them 9th in the Championship. A manager that's gone through the ranks. So he's gone about it and done it the right way in terms of managerial tree as in the league. So for of him like going for a Premier League job, and I think all Luton fans, it's one of them, they wish him the best of luck, but at the same time it's a sad situation to see him leave, because it would have been nice to see him potentially lead Luton into the Premier League.
Yeah, so with that, what should Southampton fans expect in terms of play style then?
I think you get...
For me, from the outside, what I saw of Luton, they seem defensive. Am I wrong? They're not this all-out attacking side that you would probably think, because that's what most young managers are. Although I was like, he's young. I didn't know he was 49 years old.
Yeah.
That's not a young manager. Always everyone called him a young manager.
In football terms, it's a young manager.
No, it isn't.
Some of the managers have managed into their 70s. So if he's below 50, it's still younger. Not as young as like the Gerrards and Lampards and Rooneys, because they're still in their...
I'm pretty sure the rule is anyone younger than Sir Alex Ferguson is considered a young manager.
I always say if you're below 50, you're still a young manager. Yes, he is just below 50, but it's still below 50. But in a sense of like what to expect from him, he will have the team set up very solidly. He will look to utilise the wing player. So for me, I'd expect to see the likes of Ainsley Maitland-Niles utilised a lot. I'd say Joe Aribo as well will be someone who I think Saints fans will be looking forward to see how he works under Nathan Jones. And yeah, they should look to be more of a solid team and look to concede a lot less than what they have done, which is obviously every team's goal is to concede less than they put through. And they'll put in good chances in the box, and set pieces they'll be quite dangerous from, especially corners. And you look for like no nonsense, gritty defenders. And I think that's definitely going to be something that could be a bit of a concern for Southampton. If you look at their current squad, I can't see too many players that I'm trying to earmark similar to where you look at Luton's squad. But obviously he's got the January window to come up and try and make it his own. I don't expect him to go, when January comes around, into the market and look at Luton players specifically. But I think it'll be very interesting to see what business the Saints do in terms of making it more of a Nathan Jones team.
Yeah, I looked at that Luton team and I thought there's no one there that improves Southampton.
Not drastically.
No, I don't even think like normally like that's a championship team. Like, can be honest with you, did Luton just overachieve massively? Are they even a championship team really when you look at them?
No. I think every Luton fan will say, being in this championship the last 3 years now, if not 4 years now, I'm losing a bit of track of time, but it's been a massive overachievement because you look at the budget they're on, the size of the club, they don't go out of their way and spend crazy money on players. I still believe our most expensive signing is less than £10 million. And it's just, Luton don't go out of their way to go out and spend crazy money. Now, credit to Gary Sweet and the rest of the board at Luton for how they've done it, and they've built this club up correctly and got on playing good and looking like a consistent championship team now. But it's then about when the funds potentially come in to make the team more rounded and a more competitive potential championship team, and then maybe one day in the future a Premier League team. But I think for now, they're just looking at the stability of becoming a championship team.
Yeah, and for what I've also seen of Nathan Jones, the man's a bit of a character as well. So we'll definitely get some good content out of him. But I feel like if it all goes wrong, the guy will snap a little bit. He just seems like one of those people.
Oh yeah, he's definitely one that won't shy away from the fact that he's now a Premier League manager, and his characteristics won't change. He will still be that fiery, animated man on the sideline, as much Welsh people are. But it's going to be very...
See, did that need to be a dig at the Welsh?
I mean, it was there, so I took it. But yeah...
You stopped short of calling him a sheep shagger then. That is how far you got.
I'm nice to Welsh people. I don't ever go that far. That's just mean.
It is. That's why I was hoping you had standards.
I do. I don't go that far. But yeah, it's a very interesting appointment. Obviously, his first game in charge is against Liverpool, 3:00 on Saturday. Not the first game you want to be coming into charge as a Premier League manager. Or is it?
Well, realistically, no, it isn't. But who knows which Liverpool turn up. And Southampton, you would think, will be motivated for this. Nathan Jones, if he gets the time to be with the team, which I'm guessing he is. He's in the... Yeah,
I'd imagine he'll be there today and tomorrow ahead of Saturday's game.
I was going to say, it's not like the last two Premier League appointments, is it? Where they've come from overseas and they have to get work permits before they can even start. Like Nathan Jones works here normally, so it's completely fine. Can he install anything into the team straight away? Who knows? We'll find out.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see. Again, let's have a look at the rest of the Premier League fixtures, and then we'll jump over to the England squad announcement as it's now just happening. So the rest of the games, Saturday kicks off with Manchester City versus Brentford. at the Etihad Stadium. I would say City win that one quite comfortably. If you look at
Very
the
well,
two
Bex, in the England squad.
Hold your
I'm
horses, stop.
joking. That's a joke, although I haven't seen it, so who knows.
Yes, we won't be having any spoilers from anyone. Last two games last season between City and Brentford were a lot closer than I would say many people expected, considering it was the first time they met. But I'd still expect Man City to win this one.
Yeah, you would hope so, and they can't really afford a slip up unless it's a little bit like the Fulham game where it's just difficult to break a team down and they're still playing sideways football, which we know they're very prone to. And even with Erling Haaland in the team, I think that sometimes happens. Like the old ways creep back in. But if Haaland starts, which you would gather he would now, he looks fit again. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Brentford are a bit prone to a thrashing at the moment.
Yes. Right, other games we have Bournemouth versus Everton. I know it seems crazy, but it's a relegation 6-pointer already. I mean, 1 point separating the two teams, Everton in 16th, Bournemouth in 17th. It's one of them games, especially with it just being before this World Cup break, you don't want it happening to you losing it because you're going to have the fan pressure behind you. And especially if one of the teams below Bournemouth pick up a victory and Bournemouth were to lose, then obviously the Cherries would slip into the bottom three. And then if Southampton and Bournemouth were to win, Everton would slip into the bottom three. So it's something that both teams will be desperately hoping for defeat doesn't come their way this weekend.
Was that horn in the background then the taxi for Frank Lampard?
Hopefully it was.
Yeah, because if this is anything like it was in the League Cup, then yeah, those calls maybe will start creeping in a little bit.
I mean, just
also,
looking back,
neither one of them can lose, really, because Bournemouth's nice period has ended. Pretty much, they've lost quite a few now, other than that game recently. And Everton haven't been doing too well either, and because other teams below them have been changing managers and going through the bounce and change of fortunes as well, those two are now slipping in slightly.
Yeah. I mean, they're 3 games, so the one on Tuesday and then the 2 games last season between these two sides. Bournemouth have scored 10 and conceded just the 3.
Like, I do about that. Bournemouth have always had Everton's number. It's weird.
Yeah. It's really strange. Like Bournemouth over the last couple of fixtures have been the favoured side. Quick roundup of the rest of Saturday's 3 o'clock games. We have Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace, Tottenham Hotspur versus Leeds, and West Ham United versus Leicester City. Then a look at the 5:30 game. It's Newcastle versus Chelsea, which I'm very excited to watch that one on Saturday afternoon between those two sides. I think it's going to be a really close foot battle. Newcastle looking like a really good side at the minute in the Premier League, up to 3rd under Eddie Howe. And then Chelsea on a bit of a downward spiral, losing their last 2 games and haven't won since beating Aston Villa in the league on the 16th of October. So question marks are getting raised early at Graham Potter. But this, I think, a defeat here, and maybe some more question marks. But again, he hasn't had a transfer window, so I'm giving him a bit of leeway.
Graham Potter gets the season for me with Chelsea. Unless it does start getting a bit awful, that maybe you do start having that debate. But they're facing a team who are, dare we say, top 4 rivals.
It seems crazy to be saying that at such an early stage, considering...
Like we said, this is 3 years way too early before we'd planned. I don't like it. Yeah,
but hey, they're getting the results.
Ready.
So Newcastle fans won't be complaining at all. Well, can we talk about the finishing game on Saturday? We have Julian Lopetegui heading to Molineux for the first time as Wolves take on Arsenal.
Yes, from what I've said, he's not in charge though. He's just watching.
Yeah, but I don't know what say he'll have over team talk and tactics and the starting 11. So it's going to be interesting.
I thought it was his work permit couldn't go in, and then it's the 14th that he starts. But again, it's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be rushed through because of that game on Saturday. You never know. Unlikely, but obviously Arsenal the informed team in the Premier League at the minute, still sitting top of the tree after 13 games. Wolves being down there in the relegation zone. They'll be hoping that the change of fortune happens quickly and that they can get out of the relegation zone. And then onto Sunday's 2 fixtures. Brighton play Aston Villa, and then Fulham, Manchester United round up this period of Premier League fixtures before the World Cup break.
Yeah, I've just seen Sunday as well as a very nice fixture in the Championship. Dare I say Burnley versus Blackburn. It's a nice one for the neutral derby. 2 teams that are both up there amongst the top as well.
They're the top 2 at the minute.
That's perfect. Perfectly placed.
Yeah. It should be a really cracking game. Burnley looking really good under Vincent Kompany, which still seems mad to say.
It was weird. Like, I think there was the odd sections. I don't want to dig on Southampton fans because they're suffering enough as it is. Nathan Jones is their manager now. But like, there were a load of them saying Vincent Kompany wouldn't have been the worst option to look at. But I also then go, he's less experienced than Nathan Jones.
Yeah. That makes.
I don't care that he's top of the. I don't care that he's top of the Championship right now, but that would make less sense.
Yeah, it would be very, very baffling to see if he were to go there. It's one of them where I want him to do well in the Championship and then slowly make his way up the Premier League if he was to do it in another job.
Like, let's face it, he's already performing miracles. He's getting Burnley playing amazing attacking football.
Yeah, which is not what we've been used to over the past.
After so long with dodgeball, this is, dare I say, miracles being worked.
Yeah, it's like a whole new team has just been revolutionised there.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm very intrigued to see them as the season goes on.
And a final bit of word on Luton, because obviously we've been speaking about Nathan Jones leaving there. They have announced that Mick Harford, club legend, absolute legend of the club, loved by everyone at Luton, he will take charge temporarily for this upcoming weekend's game against Rotherham.
Wasn't he was the one who took charge last time?
Yeah, before
it is
they... yeah. Like, no one in Luton says a bad word about that man.
Fair dues.
Like, he will get a good result there this weekend.
But what if he loses 10 in a row?
Doesn't matter.
He's still a legend.
That man will go down as a Luton legend.
He'll go down, definitely.
Well, if he was to lose 10 in a row, yes, he would do. Anyway, shall we talk about the cat and the pigeon?
The what? Sorry.
The Cat and the Pigeon sounds like a new child's book that's just been invented. The Cat Amongst the Pigeons.
Paul Merson, throw the cat amongst the pigeons.
Yes, let's get the fucking elephant in the room. Let's talk about the England squad.
Put that room amongst all the elephants.
Yes. Let's talk about the England squad then, as it has just been announced within the last 10 minutes.
And I've just said
yeah. I don't like it at all. So I'll run through the squad and then we can talk about it afterwards. So the goalkeepers are Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsdale. Defenders of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker and Ben White. Midfielders of Jude Bellingham, Conor Gallagher, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. And forwards are Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, James Maddison, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling and Callum Wilson.
On paper, it's not massively awful.
It just feels bang average, though.
Yeah. If there is a Gareth Southgate World Cup squad, it is what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. That doesn't scream to me that this team has the potential to win the World Cup.
This is a team going out in the quarterfinals, maximum.
Yeah, I was going to say not minimum, absolute maximum quarterfinals. I mean, it just... I mean, the goalkeepers I've got no problem with. We all knew they were going to be the 3 goalkeepers unless injury hit one of them. You then look at the defence. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I know he's probably starting right back, but he's got too many defensive problems.
See, I don't think he is.
You don't think he's starting right back?
I absolutely don't believe he will be.
Do you think it would be Kyle Walker then?
you're looking at either the choice of Kyle Walker or Kieran Trippier, unless Trippier is playing left back.
I was thinking Trippier is going to be left back in that team, personally.
But that does depend on whether he does like Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw, competent, at least.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw only ever looks terrible when he's playing next to Harry Maguire.
Which he will be at this World Cup.
That is very true. But yeah, I'm just trying to put my Southgate brain on. I should have put the waistcoat on, really, shouldn't I? But what it is, that helps me think like Gareth. But yeah, like I'm not inspired by that whole defence. Did it need a Tyrone Mings? Not really. It wouldn't have changed much, even though I rate Mings, of course, because I'm biased. And while he can drop a ricket, he's still competent when he's actually on it. If he's focused, he is one of the best defenders we have.
Yeah. I think, for me, he was screaming out for Fikayo Tomori. I think Tomori adds that bit of defensive stability that this team needed. And I just don't see... Like, it seems like you've got a bunch of good players, but I don't think there's a standout leader in that defence. Like, who's going to be the vocal one amongst the back line?
Well, I feel like Connor Cody can be that. He's a good captain for a club. I think he did great with Wolves, if I'm honest. If the plan for England is to be this three-man defence, which it could be, that's probably where Connor Cody's main strength is.
Yeah.
So I think there is a chance for him to be vocal. Whether he starts or not is debatable.
Exactly.
Like if we were to do a three-man defence, that screams Walker, Stones, Maguire.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, seeing Ben White in there as well actually is quite nice when I look at it, because he should be in there. He's really good, and he can play right back as well.
Definitely. Yeah, that defence just doesn't fill me with confidence.
It's very hard to,
Like, if you think of the latter stages, I don't know how England potentially could go up against these nations, but you look at the Germany attack, you look at the French attack, and...
We can actually say we know they're against the Germany attack.
Yeah, it's just... It doesn't fill me with confidence at all.
No, this team gets beaten by higher class opposition. If we had a better manager, I'd be at least giving us a chance. Maybe even say, we can do this. But right now, whole setup, why the whole nation is playing football, I don't see it.
No. You look into the midfield then, Bellingham, Gallagher, Henderson, Rice, Phillips and Mount. I mean, I don't think that's a midfielder. That's central midfielders. He hasn't looked at wingers because they're all playing as forwards.
That midfield tells me we are playing like 3-4-3 with just two centre mids. Like,
and probably
you can tell the boredom
and
in
Bellingham.
the way I speak.
Do you reckon it's Henderson and Bellingham or Rice and Bellingham?
You're fucking joking, ain't you? It's going to be Rice and Phillips.
Oh, God.
Do you really think it was going to be Henderson and Bellingham? Are you mental?
True.
This Gareth Southgate we're talking about. So let's talk about it. You did a Football Manager save yesterday. You were messaging me about this, and it came up with this 7-2-1 formation like team. Looking at this squad, that's exactly what we're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a few changes from that Football Manager.
Henderson and Bellingham, like, you're getting shamed for that. You everything we know about Gareth Southgate, and you thought that was going to be his centre midfield pairing.
It was more hope than realism.
Yeah, I preferred you when you had no realism.
And then forward line, because I can't even be asked to talk about that midfield anymore. It's just depressing to look at. Foden, Grealish, Kane, Maddison, Rashford, Saka, Wilson and Sterling. For me, Raheem Sterling hasn't done enough this season to get into the team.
No, but in part, I can say that's because he's been playing wing back for a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Same goes for Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's in that squad over.
Oh, no. I know how he's in the squad. Sorry, I know how he's in the squad. He has to be in the squad. He offers some. If you let him do what we know he can do, he is the biggest factor in this team.
Yes.
But of course, that's not going to happen.
No, God, no.
And I'm going to say this now. All these talks with James Maddison, it's nice that he's in. Okay, yes, he's in. Thank God he's in. Is he going to play a single minute?
No.
Exactly. Why is everyone with a realistic brain? Let's think about this. Was he going to play? Or is he going to play? No, he isn't.
Oh, God, look who's behind you on the TV now. Happy go, Larry.
Well, my screen has just broken. I've just fallen asleep, turning my head around, looking at him.
Yeah.
We know who this forward line's going to be. It's going to be Saka, Kane, Sterling.
I don't think that does enough to win games.
No, it doesn't. We know that forward line should be Saka, Kane, Foden. And what irks me as well, although you could arguably say Rashford can play out wide and as the striker, only the two recognised strikers technically.
Yeah.
That's the talk about. Callum Wilson has gone in. No Tony. No Abraham. He's picked a player. He's picked a player on form for a change.
In the Premier League, let's talk about Premier League because other than Bellingham, he hasn't looked outside the Premier League.
What's the point of looking in Italy?
Oh yeah, I mean it's absolutely ridiculous from him. Like Fikayo Tomori, one of AC Milan's best defenders, and he's not getting a look in. Tammy Abraham, although he hasn't been having a phenomenal season, I think I would still put him in. Like he offers that something a bit different to me.
I feel like if Rashford doesn't come back to a little bit of the form that he's on, then Abraham's probably on the plane.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Because Rashford's had a really good turn of fortunes recently.
But of course, the thing with Rashford is you've got to play him in the middle, and that's never going to happen.
No, because that's Harry Kane's position.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at that squad, I think quarterfinals has been really, really nice to them.
I think what I'd seen, you looking at either Argentina or France in the quarterfinals, depending on how we get out of the group.
They'd get battered by both.
Yeah. But from what I've seen, but France definitely beat us. And Argentina, from what I've seen, Messi rips this lots apart.
Messi scores about 4 or 5 goals against his England team. I'm being serious. Messi absolutely destroys his England team if he comes up against that back line. Jesus.
Watching Harry Maguire try and defend against him is actually going to be quite comically funny.
But also depressing at the same time from an England fan point of view.
You forget which shirt you're wearing. Oh, hang on, he's my defender. Oh.
Exactly.
Then again, I'm almost glad it's not Tyron Mings now.
Yeah, you are. Well, I mean, I'm also glad it's not Harry Maguire. It's Harry Maguire because he doesn't get looking at Man United anymore.
Which is why it's more damning that he gets picked.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's been replaced by Lisandro Martinez, who everyone at the start of the season was criticising because of his size and everything. 2 months down the line.
Still are. Bullied by only one.
Not as much, though.
Come on.
Yeah, but not as much as that has been. He's turned out to be
I'm just pulling the needle.
He's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's uprooted an 80 million man out of the fucking starting 11.
Which is about damn time.
Yes. So that just speaks to the levels of incompetence that fucking big-nosed twatted Gareth Southgate is. Sorry, I had to get my anger out there. That's the last of my Gareth Southgate rant until the World Cup starts.
So next week then.
Yes. Right, let's have a look at the European games before we finish, as we do have some European action also to look forward to this week. No, we don't, actually, not in La Liga, because La Liga has finished, hasn't it?
I know, how lucky. Well, there is one thing to talk about, because there was football midweek. Gerard Piqué.
Absolutely brilliant. Getting sent off from the bench.
Just perfect.
So he can't even play in his last ever game.
I think he's planned. He definitely thought, you know, I can't be asked. Fuck it, ref, come in.
Fuck off, you wanker. Right, Gerard, you sent off.
What was it? I think it came out what he supposedly said. I can't
can't
remember.
remember it. No,
I
but it
think
was.
I think no, I've just remembered how it ended. I believe it ended by and something about your pissing mother. That's
Yeah,
how it
it's
ended.
something
Oh,
crazy. And Real Madrid lost on Monday as well.
yeah, like the
Let's
title
not
race
forget
is
about that.
the title race is open.
Yeah, exciting times to be watching Spanish football this season. We do actually have football this weekend, though, in Italy. Some good games. We've got Atalanta versus Inter Milan on Sunday morning. A win for Atalanta would see them leapfrog Inter and head into the Champions League places. So that's definitely one to watch. And to finish off in Serie A this weekend, Juventus versus Lazio.
Very
Good
tasty.
game. Yes.
Sarri's
Juventus,
return as well.
yes. Juventus desperately need some sort of fortune to go their way under Max Allegri because not a lot is happening for them.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's
right.
very
Yeah.
down. Over in France, we've got Lyon versus Nice tonight, meaning Friday night as this goes out, not tonight for us. And then PSG play at home to Angers on Sunday afternoon. And then it's Monaco versus Marseille, 4th versus 5th, to round off the weekend there in France. And in the Bundesliga, again, we have the final set of games this week. Mönchengladbach take on Dortmund, Friday evening game at 7:30. Werder Bremen versus RB Leipzig, Hoffenheim versus Wolfsburg, and then the great game in history, years gone by, not as such good in recent years, Schalke 04 versus FC Bayern München.
Although there's a major difference on that's second versus the bottom.
Yeah. Top versus bottom.
Oh, they're top now, yeah.
Yes.
Order restored.
Yes. Back in the day, that used to be an absolute cracker of a game to watch, but now not so much.
We could stick with Bundesliga as well as the talking point. I think we have to start. Sadio Mane. Is he out? Was it confirmed in the end? Because I said it's said, but it wasn't from like official stuff. Until we see this confirmed squad, then we can cry.
I think it's injury precaution, but not fully out as far as I've seen.
If I'm Senegal, you take you if he's even like 80% fit. Because Group A needs all of the quality that it can get.
Yes.
And him not being there for Senegal will be very disappointing, I think. I say you're reading this out, you're trying to find out.
No, sorry. I was just reading some quotes from what Southgate was saying, and yeah, doesn't feel you.
Don't bore yourself with it.
As an England fan, well, I'm not going into this tournament as an England fan. I go into it as a neutral. But if you're an England fan,
cough, Netherlands fan.
If you're watching this,
I support
England
any team that has an Aston Villa player in it. Which, as of right now, is Poland and Argentina and Belgium.
Was Matty Cash called up?
Yes, it's been confirmed. He was just called up, yeah.
Yes.
And Jan Bednarek, technically our player.
Yes, just about.
Yeah.
Still.
No, Douglas Luiz of Brazil, though. I'm not too happy about that one.
Yeah, few emissions from that team.
Fred gets to go, but Douglas Luiz doesn't.
I rate Fred over Douglas Luiz.
I'd also rate Fred, but you can send both.
Yeah. Also, no Roberto Firmino in that team.
Yeah, I feel like they phased him out a while back there.
Yeah. Some interesting World Cup squads have been announced. Obviously, not all of them have been announced. There's still 10 days to go until the start of the first game.
Yeah, I want to say yes, but just a thought as well. It's going to be France's squad. The thing that wasn't impressing me wasn't even the squad. It was the list of players that aren't going.
Yeah. The fact that every time...
That's another team in itself. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, the fact that these last 2 or 3 tournaments, definitely as far back as 2016, you look at players that France have left out of their squads for each major tournament, and you're like, damn, that's an 11 that could win the tournament by itself.
Yeah, I look at their current squad and I go, well, the midfield isn't as experienced, maybe.
No.
But it's still decent.
Yeah. And obviously, from next Thursday, we'll have plenty of World Cup coverage as the World Cup gears up to take off. We'll be back on Monday to round up the final set of Premier League fixtures from this period of the season before the World Cup starts, and any other talking points from the weekend that may occur. Until next time, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, and that you are following us on Twitter at OffTCPod for all the latest news and stories as and when it happens. And until next time, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Brad.
Oops, yeah.
We'll see you soon.